Chapter 7: The Importance of Interpersonal Skills. Building a Pleasing Personality. I will pay more for the ability to deal with people than for any other ability under the sun. John D. Rockefeller. In business, most problems are people's problem. When we solve our people problems, our business problems are substantially resolved. People knowledge is more important than product knowledge. Successful people build pleasing and magnetic personalities, which is what makes them charismatic. This helps in getting friendly cooperation from others. A pleasing personality is easy to recognize but hard to define. It is apparent in the way a person walks and talks, his tone of voice, the warmth in his behavior, and his definite level of confidence. A pleasing personality is a combination of a person's attitude, behavior, and expressions. You will never lose your attractiveness regardless of age when the path of your personality flows both from your face and your heart. Wearing a pleasant expression is more important than anything else you wear. It takes a lot more than a show shine and a manicure to give a person polish. Charming manners that disguise a poor character may work in the short run, but character reveals itself rather quickly. Relationships based on talent and personality alone without character make life miserable. Charisma without character is like good looks without goodness. The bottom line is that a lasting. Winner combination requires both character and charisma. Be courteous to all but intimate with a few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. George Washington, January 15, 1783. Life is an echo. A little boy got angry with his mother and shouted at her, "I hate you, I hate you." Because of fear, reprimand, he ran out of the house. He went up to the valley and shouted, "I hate you, I hate you." And the echo returned, "I hate you, I hate you." Having never heard an echo before, he was scared and ran to his mother for protection. He said there was a bad boy in the valley who shouted, "I hate you, I hate you." The mother understood and she asked her son to go back and shout, "I love you, I love you." The little boy went and shouted, "I love you, I love you." And back came the echo. That taught the little boy a lesson, that our life is like an echo. We get back what we give. Life is a boomerang. Benjamin Franklin said, "When you are good to others, you are best to yourself." Whether it is your thoughts, action, or behavior, sooner or later they return and with great accuracy. Treat people with respect on your way up because you will be meeting them on your way down. The following story is taken from the best of bits and pieces. Many years ago, two boys were working their way through Stanford University. Their funds got desperately low, and the idea came to them to engage in Ignacy Paderewski for a piano ratio. They would use the funds to help pay their board and tuition. The great pianist manager asked for a guarantee of $2,000. The guarantee was a lot of money in those days, but the boys agreed and proceeded to promote the consent. They worked hard only to find that they had crossed only $1,600. After the concert, the two boys told the great artist the bad news. They gave him the entire $1,600 along with the promissory note for $400, explaining that they would earn the amount at the easiest possible moment and send the money to him. It looked like an end of the college careers. "No, boys," replied Paderewski, "that won't do." Then tearing the note in two, he returned the money to them as well. "Now," he told them, "take out of this $1,600 all of your expenses and keep for each of you 10% of balance for your work. Let me have the rest." The years rolled by. World War I came and went. Paderewski, now Premier of Poland, was striving to feed thousands of starving people in his native land. The only person in the world who could help him was Herbert Hoover, who was in charge of US Food and Relief Bureau, who responded and soon thousands of tons of food were sent to Poland. After the starving people were fed, Paderewski journeyed to Paris to thank Hoover for the relief sent to him. "That's all right, Mr. Paderewski," was Hoover's reply. "Besides, you don't remember it, but you helped me once when I was student at college and was in trouble." It is one of the most beautiful compensation of life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Goodness has a way of coming back. That is the nature of beast. One doesn't have to do good with desire to get back. It just happens automatically. What are some factors that prevent building and maintaining positive relationships? Most of them are self-explanatory or elaborated on later in this chapter. Number 1, selfishness. Number 2, lack of courtesy. Number 3, inconsiderate behavior. Number 4, not meeting commitments. Number 5, rude behavior. Number 6, lack of integrity and honesty. Number 7, self-centeredness. A person all wrapped up in himself makes a pretty small package. Number 8, arrogance. An arrogant person is content with his opinion and knowledge that will guarantee him perpetual ignorance. Number 9, conceit. Since nature harbors a vacuum, she fills empty heads with conceit. "John bragged my son got his intelligence from me," his wife replied. "I'm sure he does, because I have still got mine." Negative attitude, closed mind, lack of listening, suspicious nature, lack of respect for values, low morals, lack of discipline, lack of compassion, cruelty is a sign of weakness. Impatience, anger, temper gets person in trouble and ego keeps him there. Manipulative behavior, escapist behavior, touchy nature, inconsistency, unwillingness to accept truth, past bad experience, an uncaring attitude. Being ignored is not good feeling. It shows a lack of concern. Greed is like a seawater. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. This probably is not an all-inclusive list. Most of us may have some of the characteristics mentioned above. Some may have more of one than the other. The objective is to evaluate and adjust course in those areas. The difference between ego and pride. The biggest hurdle in building a positive relationship is ego. Ego is self-intoxicating. Ego is an unhealthy pride that results in arrogance. Healthy pride is a feeling of the pleasure of accomplishment with humility. Ego gives a swollen head while pride's given a swollen heart. A big head gives a big headache, whereas a big heart gives humility. No matter what the size of person, accomplishments are there is never an excuse for having a big head. Pride, yes. Big head, no. Ego, the I know it all attitude. To an egocentric person, the world begins, ends, and revolves around him. An egotist can be funny by default. A boss asked one of his employees how badly he wanted a raise. The employee said, "Really badly. I have been praying to God for one." The boss replied, "You are not going to get it because you went over my head." An egotist talks down to and looks down on others. Egotism is the anesthetic that deadens the pain of stupidity. No trucking. What is the difference between selfishness and self-interest? It is important to understand the distinction between selfishness and self-interest. Selfishness is negative and destructive. It destroys relationships because it is based on negative values. It believes in the win-lose principle. Self-interest is positive. It welcomes prosperity, peace of mind, good health, and happiness. Self-interest believes in win-win situation. Envy, jealousy, crab mentality. Jealousy is a tiger that tears not only its prey but also its own raging heart. Mitchell Beer. What is crab mentality? Did you know how that if you put a group of crabs in a box with one open top, that the crabs will stay in the box. The crab could easily crawl out of the box and go free. But this doesn't happen because crab mentality doesn't let it happen. The moment one crab starts crawling up, the others pull it down and nobody gets out. They could all go free, but guess where they all end up? Dead. The same thing is true with people who are jealous. They never get ahead in life and prevent others from succeeding. Jealousy is a sign of poor self-esteem. It is a universal trait. The biggest problem comes when jealousy becomes part of nation's character. It results in disastrous consequences. Jealousy corrupts people and countries. One should have an open mind rather than empty mind. What is difference between an open mind and empty mind? An open mind is flexible. It evaluates and may accept or reject ideas and concepts based on merit. An empty mind is dumping ground for good and bad. It accepts without evaluation. We see things not the way they are, but the way we are. According to a legend, a wise man was sitting outside his village when a traveler came up and asked, I am looking to move from my present village. What kind of people live in this village? The wise man asked, what kind of people live in your village? The man said, they are mean, cruel, rude. The wise man replied, the same kind of people live in this village too. After some time, another traveler came by and asked the same question. And the wise man asked him, what kind of people live in your village? And the traveler replied, the people are very kind, courteous, polite, and good. The wise man said, you will find the same kind of people here too. Generally, we see the world not the way it is, but the way we are. Most of time, other people's behavior is a reaction to our own. If our motives are good, we assume the motives of others are good too. If our intentions are bad, we assume that the intentions of others are bad. Trust. All relationships are trust relationships. Relationships between employer and employee, parent and child, husband and wife, student and teacher, buyer and seller, and a customer and salesperson are all trust relationships. How can we have trust without integrity? Crisis in trust really means crisis in truth. Trust results from being trustworthy. What are the factors that build trust? Reliability gives predictability and comes from commitment. Consistency builds confidence. Respect to self and others give dignity and shows a caring attitude. Fairness appeals to justice and integrity. Openness shows a willingness to listen and share your views. Congruence. Action and words harmonize. If a person says one thing and behaves differently, how can you trust that person? Competence. Come when a person has the ability and attitude to serve. Integrity. The key of ingredient to trust. Acceptance. In spite of our effort to improve, we need to accept each other with our pluses and minuses. Character. A person may have all competence, but if he lacks character, he can't be trusted. Courage. A person who lacks courage will let you down in any crisis. Trust in many ways is much greater compliment than love. There are some people we love, but we can't trust them. Relationships are like bank accounts. The more we deposit, the larger they become. Therefore, the more we can draw from them. However, if you try to draw without depositing, it leads to disappointment. Many times we feel we are overdrawn, but in reality we may be under deposited. Below are some of the consequences of poor relationship and lack of trust. Stress, lack of communication, irritation, close-mindedness, no team spirit, lack of credibility, poor self-esteem, suspicion, loss of productivity, isolation, poor health, distrust, anger, prejudice, breakdown of morale, uncooperative behavior, conflict, frustration, unhappiness. Now let's move to action plan. Number one action plan. Take a few moments to assess the messages you are sending out. Do you send positive or negative messages? If it's the latter, make a concerted effort to change your messages. Start looking for good, it will be there for you to find. Number two, go over the following list of factors that prevent building and maintaining positive relationship. If you find yourself in possession of any of these traits, pick one a week to work on eliminating them. Selfishness, lack of courtesy, inconsiderate behavior, not meeting commitments, rude behavior, lack of integrity and honesty, self centeredness, arrogance, conceit.